Our first speaker this morning is uber successful. He's a property developer, he has businesses all around the world, he started in South Africa, and at the moment what he does is he focuses on building international markets. When you talk about property, this is the guy that's going to teach you, the notes that you're going to learn today will teach you how to build a property portfolio around the world. And you don't want to learn from someone that's just talking about it, you want to learn from someone that is physically doing it. He is a legend in our country. He is a legend now. He's starting to build businesses all around the world. He's in America expanding his brand. He's in Australia. He's in Europe. He's all over the place. Please raise the roof this morning and welcome Mr. Hennie.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's indeed a privilege for me to be here today. It's the first time that I'm participating in this event, and I would like to congratulate JP and his team for a fantastic opportunity to meet other people and to network. It is indeed a life-changing experience. The European African, indeed a unique creature. Not only did we survive and strive in the African continent for more than 350 years, a continent that deprived itself from a lot of opportunities, benefits and privileges the developed world has to offer, due to long-standing wars, dictatorships and internal rivalry. My family was sent to the most southern point of Africa by the Queen and the government of the Netherlands in 1658. And the mission was to start the first commercial farming operation to provide food for people traveling from Europe to Asia around Cape Town. To establish the first commercial enterprise in the southern part of Africa. And today, generations later, we still live that dream. We still are true to the cause we started many years ago. And that is to bring hope to the African continent, but more importantly, to develop the enormous potential the continent has to offer. I was born in South Africa in 1956. I completed my master's degree, and I'm for 35 years involved in business in Africa. I am married for 30 years, and I'm the proud father of 4 beautiful daughters and a son. I'm deeply involved in nature conservation and the protection of endangered species in the African continent. Like all South Africans, I've been mad about sport, and I have various sporting interests. My business experience in Africa dates back, as I've indicated to you, for many, many years. And I think after 13 generations in the continent, I think we can claim that we understand the culture, the customs, the opportunities, but also the difficulties of the African continent. I started my first business in South Africa in 1985. I bought my first commercial property in 1993. And since then, I've developed and invested in several healthcare-related businesses, office parks, and affordable housing projects in our country. I was involved in several projects that had a national impact in our country. I pioneered the first organic, traceable bean production for a leading retailer in our country, the first in the continent. I played a leading role in the restructuring of the healthcare industry in our country. The same problems you're experiencing with Obamacare at the moment, we had the same several years ago, and we could solve those. I've started businesses in 3 continents already, and I think there is a lot more to come as far as it. Ladies and gentlemen, but not only that, I'm also a proud citizen of the global village. The world has changed, and we're moving forward fast. I was involved in Australia, and in November 2009 we established Blue Sky Private Real Estate in Australia. We've done several projects. We've grown the business from 4 million to 40 million in a couple of years, and we've got about 2,000 investors that follow us. That is the projects that we have delivered on successfully, and I just want to highlight one, the last one, where we only got a 2% yield. That project we started in the peak of the GFC in 2008, and even through those difficult circumstances, we didn't lose money. We made money for our investors. I was also recently involved in the creation of Wealth Migrate, a company that helps people to invest abroad in property. The objectives of the company is to help investors to internationalize their property portfolios, to preserve their capital by spreading their risk, to make use of current property opportunities in the United States.
Good morning, everyone. How are you? You are a very successful man, and we are not doing this presentation because I had dinner with you, and you are a genius at properties, and I'm waiting to figure out how to build an empire like you. I don't want to read on the slide what you've done. I want to learn specifically. Do you want to learn specifically? So, as a #1 radio personality, I'm going to ask you, and because you and I had lunch together in Africa, and I was absolutely blown away. So now I want to go back home and say, how do I do that? Because I'm not going to steal your presentation, so I'm going to get it down here. So Hennie, you are not only the authority in South Africa, but you have been forward-thinking in a country that has been 8 years behind. So what have you attributed your success in South Africa and doing things? For example, you have thought outside the box. You've created niches in South Africa that were never there before. So what is your key to success to do that? Because not a lot of people have thought the way you thought in South Africa, and many places I go, that's your building, that's your building, that's your building. So what is your mindset, your philosophy goes to business? And then we'll talk about raising capital.
Yes, thank you, JT. I think first was to identify the niches that I want to play in. I think learn those niches and understand exactly what is expected for me to be successful in those areas. I think once we've done that, and once we've developed those abilities, we then started to move global. I think, and there's a particular background to that, because South Africa has got different certain challenges. There's huge opportunities to make money, but there are also risks that face the country.
What are the risks in South Africa property-wise?
The risk in South Africa is that I think we've got political uncertainties. There is talk about changing the laws so that private ownership of property can be affected. So there's different risks associated to be there. There's also opportunities. The yields are good. There's fantastic opportunities.
How have you seen the difference between the yields? Because you've done business in Europe, you've done business in Australia, you're now doing a lot of things in the United States. What do you say is the difference between all of those countries? Like, let's start off with South Africa compared to the United States and then Australia.
Well, the most important difference, I think, is that the yield is higher, it's easier to get into the market, it's easier to make money there. But obviously, from a capital preservation point of view, there's a lot more risk.
Is it because of the currency exchange and the fluctuating rand?
That is basically driven by the currency fluctuation. To give you an example, our currency in South Africa deteriorated, lost 30%, 25% of its value in the first 6 months of this year. And
what was that attributed to?
Well, that is attributed to a lot of things. The growth is not there. There's political uncertainty in certain areas. There's things the government can't deliver on certain promises they've made. And all of this contribute to a level of uncertainty, and that obviously had an impact.
But there's also a tremendous amount of growth, and you're seeing more and more building in South Africa there has ever been, because they also did experience a big downfall in 2006 and 2007 in the property market, correct?
Well, they did, but not closely or by far to the extent as we've experienced it elsewhere in the world. There's a lot of factors that contributed to that, but I mean, we didn't experience negative growth at all. We was never in a recession. But the big thing is, I think, you know, if you've got a currency that's volatile, if you've got a currency that you can lose money and you lose 20%, 30% of the wealth you've built up over your lifetime within the blink of an eye, I think you should have two strategies. One is to make use of those opportunities. The second is to preserve the money that you have made. Therefore, you need to be in the developed world, and you need to have another leg in the developing world.
Now, your expertise has always not been just investing, developing, creating niches like in the medical field. You've created in the United States, we have these medical buildings where these doctors, accountants, and chiropractors go into, and that was not done in South Africa until Hennie brought that concept into there to create that stability and get a higher a price per square foot and square meter, obviously in South Africa. So you created that niche. You now take foreign investors in South Africa and bring that money to the United States, bring that money to Australia. How difficult, and a lot of people here have this, you may have opportunities all over the world. How do you get the people to trust, or what is the pitch to say, hey, listen, come to America, come to Australia? For someone who is far away, who is unfamiliar with the market, how have you overcome that challenges, and what's the general sentiment of the people?
Well, I think the sentiment, the reason for that is I've explained. You should have growth and you should have capital preservation, and you do that through diversification of your risk. To do that, I think people must understand that. I think we must be very clear that and provide a one-stop solution. It's very difficult to migrate your wealth from one country to another. There's tax implications, there's development implications, there's management implications. There's a lot of things that you need to attend to, and to be able to get people to understand and have the necessary confidence to take that step, you must provide a one-stop solution.
Now, part of the reason you've come to America is looking for deals. I know you spent time with my partner, John Brock, in Chicago, looking at many of the big buildings that we have. And so how do you come, someone who's coming with a tremendous amount of money and capital and trying to find deals and partners all across the United States, what do you look for when you look to invest in people? This is important because this is the type of people all over the world. They are all coming here. So everybody here says it's not good, and everyone around the world is now coming here. So what do you look for in terms of partners, opportunities? I know you've been talking to a lot of people here. Obviously you're looking for deals, or people who know people of deals. So what is it that you're looking for when you want to find a partner so that you can bring your money? What are your criteria?
Well, there's a lot of criteria, but I think, firstly, I think the two companies and the local partner and ourselves should have the same business philosophy. We should be in the same stage.
What is your business philosophy, first of all?
Well, our business philosophy is, and what I've explained to you, that we need to be in both the capital preservation side of it, preserving your assets, and also have...
So let me stop you. I'm going to break it down to teaching experience, which I understand this because I deal with people with money all the time. So number one is, you have to talk about hedging and diversification. Write this down. Hedging and diversification. Okay? And people with money, what they're looking for is three magic words. You cannot go to someone like Hennie who's got a lot of money and say, you know what, you can make even more money, because that's not what they're interested in. They're looking for three magic words that you need to use all the time, and it's safely, securely, and profitably. So they're not looking for the deals that are like Hail Marys, win $1 million, you make a lot of money. What they're in fact looking for is deals that I wouldn't say are most sure thing, but they're close to, right? Because if you go and say, well, if it goes, they don't want that. Because to them, here's the problem. If he brings money from another country and loses money in one deal, it's going to be hard for him to go back to anyone and raise money again, so he can't afford to make mistakes. So you have to really come out from a point of a conservative and not hype. Hennie and the people that he does business with, a tremendous amount of money who come here, they don't want hype. And I think too many people, you sort of deal with them and they hype, and it's very important, and you said this, and him and I hit it off because we have the exact same principles. They come up and you start talking about all the things you're going to do, and you're not connecting, trying to find out, what is your philosophy? So that's what they want to know before. So you have a business model, a business philosophy. Spend time explaining that business philosophy. So what else? So we look for someone that has the same philosophy as you. What else do you look for when you're looking for a partner? Because that's why he came to Mega Partner. To partner, to have people bring him deals, opportunities.
Yeah, I think the second is we would like to have partners that can bring us deals in a certain sort of monetary value that we feel comfortable with to start with. I think the other thing that we're looking for is the same value system in the companies, integrity. We're 17,000 kilometers away. We need to be able to trust what's going on here, and we need to have a partner that can inform us on what's changing, what's happening in the marketplace.
Deals less than $1 million or over $1 million? Because sometimes you have people with money who are like, I don't want to really do the small deals, I'm not interested.
Yeah.
And I just want to do the big deals. And then there are people that say, well, let's start small first and then grow it up from there. Sometimes big people say, well, it's too small for me. And then other people say, hey, listen, let's start it up.
Yeah, I think the sweet spot currently for us is between $1 and $10 million. I think the second tier would be then between 10 and 100 million. We don't hear that.
Give or take a couple dollars. Is that rand or is that US dollars?
US dollars.
US dollars. So 1 to 10, right? Or 10 to 100. Now, when someone presents a deal, everyone's different. I've been teaching how to present the deals. Now, if you go to the C7 business model, which I'm doing all over the world, I'm going to teach you how I do a one-page proposal on raising capital. How do you want to see the deal? When people send you deals, because you get deals all the time, opportunities, they give these big proposals that nobody reads. What do you look like?
Well, I think we look at two things. We've got a group of investors that's interested to be part of the action, that want to grow business and make more than just a return on an investment of 6 or 7 or 8%.
Stop, because that's a very, very, very good point that you said. There are two types of people that you talk to, and you need to know what do they want. You have the one that says, here's my money, you do everything. And then there's the second one that say, okay, I'd like to participate in the growing, but in my experience, they want to participate until they realize that you can do everything and they don't have to do any of the work, and then they stop. But they like to know. And there are people like, well, you're not going to do anything, I'm going to do all the work. And say, well, I'd like to be involved. And there's an argument, and I feel that. So that is important. Identify, are you looking to someone who wants to participate or just give the money? That sometimes people want to participate because they feel that they want to grow with the project, that they're building a company along with you. No one brags about they made 12, 13, 15% return on their money, but they will brag about how they just bought 7 buildings and they're growing in America. So identify. Are you talking about a partner working with you or just a partner for money? And you almost have to ask it in a question, but not be direct. Just say, you know what? Are you more like an active person want to be involved, or just one person want to sit back? So identify, and then based on which one, your pitch is different. It's 2 different pitches. There is no such thing as one pitch, 2 pitches. So active or not, what else for people?
Well, the second one is, are you income? Would you like to get income out of the project, or are you in for capital growth? That's also a difference between those two.
Okay, so you have to identify, am I just going to say, make my money and run away, or am I going to be part of the deal? Do you prefer when people bring you a deal and you just write them a check and walk away, or you prefer to them be still in the deal for the duration of the deal?
No, I think we want to be part of it. We want to be part of the action. We want to bring, I think we've got value to add in terms of what we've learned in other parts of the world. So we want to be part of the action. We want to be part of decision making on all levels. So that is what we want to do here. Partner with a local partner when we become true partners. The investors on the other side, because I represent the management group, representing the investors back in South Africa. There we've got, as I said, 2 investor groups. One say, I want a 20% or 25%. I understand the risk associated with developing a property. I want to take that risk with you. Then there's the other guys, this is my pension money. This is the savings of my lifetime. I just need a solid property that generates an income of 10%, 12%, 8%, whatever is the case. So that's the groups that we represent.
When you're talking to someone about a deal or opportunity, or you meet somebody, what would say to you, say, you know what, I am not going to do business with that person? Like things that turn you off as an investor. There's a lot of things that you'll meet someone and they'll be like, oh, thank you. And you'll never tell them, but you'll never do business with them. Things that you may have heard or stuff like that because you get pitched all the time. And I only found out years later what people actually thought, and then always wonder why I had not deal. What are some of the things that are just no-nos for you right away in terms of doing business with people that's just going to say, I'm not interested?
Well, I definitely will not be interested if you present a project to me. It's not fully, we don't have all the information, all the numbers, they all stack up, and we can see where the value is in this proposition. The second thing, obviously, if there's any doubt in terms of integrity, the history, what track record this person has, we need to identify and be happy and satisfied with that.
What happens that if you don't have a track record, starting, got some good deals, is that a deal killer? They've got great deals, but they don't have the track record yet, but they've got the deals because they're starting.
No, that's not a deal killer. It would just need some more thorough diligence from our side, proper feasibility, more research into the market, the opportunity, the city, the area, all of that we need to thoroughly then investigate.
And he's obviously a left-brainer. I don't know. Well, no. Oh, really? You don't think he's a right-brainer? No, it's not. Charlie, I can see the similarities. So, as a left-brainer, I think what he's saying is, number one, the knowledge of your market, the deal, the types of properties, I think is very important to him. He's coming from South Africa. If he's going to, let's say here in Orlando, he's going to want to make sure that you know what the hell you're talking about. That you know the market, that you know the trends, and you know that. So that's what he wants to know, to feel confident that he knows your local market, because that's really why he's partnering with you. Not only because you have the deal, but because you have the local or the knowledge expertise of the deal, which is obviously why he came to Chicago to meet with me and John, because of that local expertise. So it's important. So what are some of the things that you do when you partner people that test people to make sure they're the real deal?
Well, the thoroughness of what he presents to me. Is it just, highlight just the most important yield return stuff, or whether there's really substance in the total presentation that I can see. The work has been done, the due diligence is there, the feasibility is there, the competitor analysis is there. All of that is in the presentation for the information they present.
And a rate 1, 2, 3 in terms of in order, in your opinion, what is the best markets to invest in right now, property-wise? Is it Australia, is it Africa, or is it America? Rate them 1, 2, 3, from your perspective.
Well, the best opportunity, I think, if you look at growth, it would be Africa. There's huge opportunities in Africa. There's growth opportunity of 35% and more. Obviously, it's associated with the risk that goes with that. The second best would be the United States. I think there's huge opportunities. Whilst in residential, I think we're moving out of that phase. I think there's opportunities now in apartment buildings and in office blocks.
Many people here are going to be going to Mega Partnering Africa in February, which you will be there as well. Why, these people, you came here, you didn't know the market, and you created the market, you work with people here in the local. Is there an opportunity for any of these people to go to Africa and make things happen, even though they may not know anybody yet, and they may not know what they want to do? But going there, is it worth it for them to fly to Africa to really experience and see the potential?
Yes, I would answer this question twofold. One, I think Africa will be the continent of the future. All of the untapped potential from resources, water, and all is in Africa. There's a huge potential, but there's also a downside. I think you will have to be careful. Africa is different. The legal systems is different. The legal framework that you need to operate, the culture is different. So there are a lot of things that you'll have to learn from Africa. But that's going to be the honeypot of the future. I am convinced about that.
It does help when you go to an event like Mega Africa and you know some of the names we're attracted. Would you agree that I've attracted the most successful Africans to Mega Partnering? I mean, you know some of the many of the names, right? And he was blown away. I remitted list of the richest people in that country. Those are all the people who I'm talking to. And he was very impressed. I mean, he knows all the people that I've been talking to, and he was very surprised. And I just think I would just go to Africa because you just never know what's going to happen. And if anything, you be branded that you're looking at businesses in Africa, so that alone, the branding alone, is going to help you alone from a positioning, and you get to go on a safari, which is kind of cool. You know, it's oh, there you are. You're early. I didn't expect you to be there. You're all invited to Etienne's farm. Talk to him. I do that every Mega Partner. In closing, Hennie, and by the way, he will be here for the rest of the day, so if you have deals and opportunity now that you're on stage, be prepared to be asking a gazillion questions and having everyone under the sun bring in. Remember, how you approach people like that, very successful, have to be calculated. You know what I mean, just act like you belong. Not a problem here, but other events. What is the key to success? At the end of the day, when you look back, you've done business all over the world, all across Africa, you deal with a lot of successful people that give you money. What is the key to success that we can all take from the fact that you deal with some of Africa's most successful entrepreneurs with their money and success and everything? What is the key to success? You don't.
Thank you. I just want to allude back to the question in terms of, can I be successful in Africa? I think there's one thing that you need to take cognizance of. It's been proven beyond doubt that foreigners that want to do business in Africa, if they partner with an African company that understands the background, the history, the customs, the way of doing business, has been proven that those companies have got an 80% more chance to be successful in Africa.
I know a person that can be a testament to that.
And secondly, I think in terms
Are you surprised how well I've done in Africa in 6 months?
No, it's amazing, but that shows you the opportunities is massive.
You go there, you're 8 years ahead. You are 8 years ahead. That's why the Africans now come here, and they get this knowledge, and they go back, and that's why Andrew and Etienne and Hilda and Johan and Guillaume, they go back home, and they just blow away because it's the culture shock of like, wow. I mean, as I said this, and I've been interviewed, maybe I'll show you a clip today or tomorrow when I was interviewed on CNBC. I have never made that much money, that quickly, that easily in Africa. Never. I'm not giving you any money. I don't know why you haven't made the money yet. You got to go to Africa too. The people are really nice. I mean, it's one of the people's country. The people are the nicest, and I really enjoy it there. And they're coachable, teachable. Once they overcome the big fan versus fear, skeptical. As soon as you overcome that, they're great people. And in closing, success, keys to success. That you've observed from some of the world's most successful people. What is, at the end of the day, what can we learn from some of the lessons that you've learned?
Well, I think firstly the vision of people. They have a vision. They know they go where they're going. If you don't have a vision, if you don't have a plan, any role will do. Secondly, I think the thoroughness in which they approach things. They don't rush it. In terms of migrating your wealth and the thing that we were talking about, I think it's very important that you really plan it properly. Taking business on in another continent should never ever be a crisis decision. A decision that you take today and you will start tomorrow. That is a strategic decision, a tactic decision that you need to plan properly, identify your partners, make sure you understand the legal framework, the customs framework, the people, the opportunities. The thoroughness is what makes a difference at the end of the day.
Hennie, thank you so much. You'll be here all week. And give him a big round of applause.